Hi students, today we are going to discuss about the salient or the most important features of Indian Constitution. Let me give the introduction first. The Indian Constitution was prepared and adopted by the Constituent Assembly, which was set up in the year 1946. As I discussed earlier, in order to make a constitution, you should have a body that is known as a Constituent Assembly, which was set up in the year 1946. The Constituent Assembly took nearly 3 years, from 9th December 1946 to 25th November 1949. That is altogether precisely 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to complete the framing of the Constitution. So no other constitution in the world has taken this much time but for us. The Constituent Assembly approved the Indian Constitution on 26th November 1949. See, after all these deliberations and making the Constitution, which has taken almost 3 years, it was put for approval to the Constituent Assembly, and that was approved on 26th November 1949. The Indian Constitution came into force on 26th January 1950. As you all know, that day we celebrate as a Republic Day. Right from our childhood, from our school going days till today, we everywhere, all over the part of India, in every nook and corner of the India, we celebrate the Republic Day on 26th January 1950. Further, now point wise, I am going to discuss the salient features of the Indian Constitution now. First, let me tell you, number one, written and detailed Constitution. Ours, the Constitution of India, is a written document. That means deliberately people or the experts of the Constituent Assembly have sat for so many years and they have written the document. It's a written document, and you might be getting confused in what is an unwritten document. Let me just explain here. See, unwritten is something known as a conventional way where there is no document, but for example, if your parents or elders come to your home, it's not written in your family code, you are going to touch their feet and take their blessings. It's a convention we are following from, which is not written, but it's not like that. Written means everything in detail, it is written. So our constitution is a detailed and written constitution. It consists of 12 schedules, 22 parts and 444 articles now. But earlier when it was framed, it was with 395 articles. So over a period we have added, deleted, like that. Today's number is this. So many factors have contributed for the bulkiness of the constitution. You know why our constitution is so bulky? The reason is the diversity of our culture, our country. No other country in the world is having that much diversity. Still, we are united. Unity in diversity we call. We have number of languages, cultures. If you go to the Kanyakumari, they speak Tamil. You go to the Kashmir, they speak Kashmiri or Urdu. Western side, Gujarati, extreme, you go eastern side, Bengali, so many languages. It's a colorful bouquet a country is like. So that has contributed to the bulkiness of the constitution, because you have to cater to everybody's needs. Everything was incorporated in the constitution. That's how it has got its bulkiness. Almost all matters relating to the composition and organization of union, states as well as union territories, provisions regarding protections of interests of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and other backward classes, provisions regarding special constitutional bodies like the Election Commission, the Union Public Service Commission, the State Public Service Commission are made in a very comprehensive manner. See, we have not left anything. We touched everything right from the administration of union territories, special areas and depressed classes, public service commissions, election commission, which are key to function as a democracy. Everything touched in this constitution. That's one of the reasons for being a bulkiness. Similarly, several matters relating to fundamental rights, fundamental duties, directive principles of state policy, union-state relation, official language and regional languages were clearly mentioned in the constitution. So, fundamental rights deal with the rights of the citizens, whereas fundamental duties are the duties of the citizens, whereas directive principles of state policy are the things, social welfare measures to be taken up by the governments of state and the center. Now, the second point is that India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. So let me tell you what these key words say. The constitution deliberately designed India to be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. These are the political ideals which a country is being following and will follow in future as well. So each of these concepts has wide ranging dimensions. Sovereign state. See, India is a sovereign state. It is clear that India is internally supreme and extremely independent of any foreign control. India is not a subordinate state. That means all the internal affairs of a country are the decisions relating to our internal affairs are being taken by the government of India, and no other neighbor or the foreign countries will involve in its affairs. Whereas it is absolutely independent and it is responsible for taking its own decisions, and it is not reporting to any country, unlike earlier Commonwealth countries used to, they were under British crown. It was not like that. Now it is absolutely free. So it's a sovereign state. A socialist state. According to the preamble, India is committed to socialism, assuring the establishment of a socialist state. It strives to provide social and economic justice to its entire people and end all forms of exploitation. As we have been suffering from exploitation since 200 years, we have been suffered so long. So by ensuring a social state, the government want to make sure that everybody gets a social and economic justice. We follow mixed economy. The state is free to bring the key industries and the private enterprises under the state ownership and management. See, when I say, there are two types of economies, like a capitalist economy and a communist economy. So it's a mixed economy. Wherever it is required, the key private portfolios or the industries also taken over by the government. For example, in the 1960s, Indira Gandhi has nationalized some banks. Okay. So by that, state have some control, but it's not that completely it is controlling, and in certain places it will also live. Secular state. Secularism means that the state protects all religions equally and does not itself subscribe to any other religion as official. You know very well, since our childhood, we have been, India is a secular state. It is known like secularism means the government, or we call as a state, will not give any importance or preferential treatment to any one particular religion, and there is no official religion as such. It treats all religions at par. That is known as secularism. And democratic state. Democracy is the formidable foundation of Indian political system. It states that the people of India are the chief source of the political authority. They can make and unmake the government. The people are both the rulers and the ruled. India adopted indirect or representative democracy. See, as I discussed earlier, democracy means it's a rule by the people. Here, the ruled are the people, even the rulers, both are people. We represent our own people who will go, because 130 crore people cannot rule by sitting there. So we choose representative among ourselves, and who are going to sit in the legislative assemblies and councils or parliaments, and they rule us. So in a way, it's a rule by the people. And republican state. India is a republican with an elected head of the state, that is the President of India. He is elected. He or she is elected. No public office in the country is hereditary. We don't have something like a Raja type of things, no. King will be there, his son or his grandson will be ruling. That kind of hereditary situation is not there. It's absolutely elected by the people. Only the elected head will rule the state. Any Indian citizen can, or no public office in the country is hereditary. Any Indian citizen can contest to any office of the government subject to certain limitations. See, a constitution has framed certain rules, whereas for every official positions, irrespective of any caste, creed, anything, place of birth, religion, race, anybody can contest and take that office or claim that office, provided he has to follow certain things. For example, he should have attained a certain age limit, and he should be a citizen of India, such kind of things. Now, let's go to the third point, noble aims and objectives. Indian constitution has noble aims and objectives. When I say noble aims and objectives, see, whoever starts with any kind of machine or something, they will have some goal or destiny that you envision that what is going to have in future, what kind of, see, for example, you're going to build a house. You will know, you already have in your mind, I should have a swimming pool on the backyard, I should have a lawn in the foreyard, I have a terrace farming and 3 BH, a bedroom, so and so, drawing room. You have some plan. Okay, you ensure something, you envision something. Such things are noble aims and objectives what we are thinking while we are making the constitution, and we have very much incorporated them in a constitution. See, the Indian constitution secures to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political matters. See, justice is delivered in social, economic and political matters, means in the society wise through various like reservations and etc., by providing employment economically and by giving chance to rule in politically. In all these ways we are ensuring justice. It also provides all its citizens liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, and every citizen is free to think anything, express anything, but some restrictions you have to follow. It doesn't mean I can express anything, I cannot abuse my neighbor or someone, and I am free to subscribe to any religion, any faith and any belief. There is no hard and fast rules, no restrictions on that. Further, the Constitution of India promotes among all people the equality of status and opportunity. Every person will have equality of status and opportunity. For example, there is an exam conducted by the government. See, I may belong to any caste, any religion, any place of birth, no. If I follow the eligibility criteria, then I will be given an opportunity to appear for that exam. Such a thing is provided. Likewise, it strives for fraternity by assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. See, when we say wherever I go, even if I go to Tripura, if I go to Gujarat or Kashmir, wherever, I say I am an Indian. I will not say I am from Hyderabad and so and so, because either my passport says that I am a citizen of India. In that way, we are fraternized. Okay. That is all only to ensure the unity and integrity of the nation, to make us, though we are diverse in language and culture, make us feel that we all belong to one nation, that is India. A fourth point is combination of rigidity and flexibility. So let me tell you these words, what does it mean? See, rigidity means something making very strict or difficult to make a change, that is called rigid. If suppose there are some rules in offices, some companies, they say by sharp 8 o'clock you are supposed to come to the office. If I come at 8:01 also, and that is remarked as a leave or like that. Whereas flexibility, they will be given a grace period from 8 to 8:15, you have a time of grace period. So you understand what is the difference between rigidity and flexibility. In the same manner, even our constitution can be amended in both ways. It's neither rigid nor flexible. You have 3 different ways to amend the constitution. The Constitution of India can be amended with rigid and flexible methods. Article 368 provides the details of the amendment procedure. It can be amended by 3 methods. Firstly, the Union Parliament can amend some parts of the Constitution by a simple majority. So let me tell you what is simple majority first. Example, in a classroom there is a strength of 25 members. Teacher wants to take these children to the picnic. They ask, who all want to go to picnic to IMAX or Zoo Park? Raise your hands for those who want to go for IMAX. Then in that, some 8 members raised hand for IMAX. And how many left? 17. Then the 17 raised for Zoo Park. What is the majority here? 17 members, means they will be taken to the Zoo Park based on the majority. Simple means just more than 50%. Even out of 25, if 13 members vote for something, that is a simple majority. Understand? So example, the formation of new states. Example, Telangana was formed recently in the year 2014, changing the boundaries of states and provisions relating to citizenship, etc. It is said to be flexible. Means just by simple majority, you can make this change. Okay? And there is another method known as by special majority. Secondly, we call that some provisions can be amended by a special majority. That is not less than 2/3 of the members of the house present and voting. Let me explain you what is this special majority. See, we have at a central level, you have a Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. You have the membership 542 and 250. So when I say special majority, how many are present in that house on that day? In that, 2/3 of the majority should be present and they all should vote. It's not a simple majority. If I say simple majority, only more than 50%. But it's not like that. 2/3 is something more than special majority, more than 50%. Understand? They should be present on the day of the total membership and they should vote. That is, so it's a little difficult. That's why it's called as a rigid, but not so rigid, quasi-rigid or partially rigid. Okay. Example, these kinds of things used for changing the fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, etc. It is said to be half rigid and half flexible. Further, and the third thing is, some provisions can be amended by 2/3 majority of the parliament with the concurrence of the half of the states. See, we have a Lok Sabha. Okay. For example, you have to go for election of the president. There, only 2/3 majority of the Lok Sabha does that. That will not suffice. 2/3 majority of the parliament means Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha. They have to give their vote. Apart from that, in addition to that, concurrence of half of the states. Now there are 28 states now. Understand? Till last year there were 29, but now 28 states, because Jammu Kashmir was made into two, split into two union territories. Okay. So these out of 28 states, minimum 14 states should say yes. Then only this can be done. So this kind of amendment is used in election of the president, executive powers of the union and the states while changing them, distribution of legislative powers between the union and the states. So it is very rigid thing, because sometimes what happens, 2/3 majority is approved in the parliament, but states, all of them may not support the governments this order and all. Why? Because different governments are there in different states. Whatever are aligned with the central government, only they will support. That's why it's a little rigid one. Hence, the constitution has a combination of rigid and flexible methods to amend the constitution. See, when we discuss these three ways of amendment, in the second, the difference or the major difference between the second and third is, in the second, that is a quasi-rigid amendment, you should have a 2/3 majority of the parliament to make any changes to the constitution. Whereas in the third method, you should have, in addition to this 2/3 majority of the parliament, you should also have the concurrence of half of the state legislative assembly. That's the difference. Now coming to the fifth point, that is the unitary and federal features. India is a union of states according to the constitution. See, why they are telling union of states? We can just say India as such. It's not like that. It is a union of states. That means India has got so many states, number of states. They can just come and join, but they don't have a right to secede. They cannot become separate from our nation. Understand? From our country, they cannot get separated. Only their job is to join. Once joined, they cannot come out of that. It's union of states. Okay. Our constitution contains both the features of unitary and federal governments. See, there is a difference between unitary and federal. When I say unitary government, everything is controlled only at the central level. That means the states only have to say, not their heads, yes, yes, and they don't have their say. When I say federal, even the federal governments means the state governments also have their powers and functions independent of a center. Only during emergencies they may have to take or rely upon the center, but otherwise parallelly, just like a union government, center also will function. That is a federal system. It prescribed unitary system in emergencies and federal system on ordinary occasions. See, in ordinary occasions, just like what is going on now, we have states will function among themselves, but only through emergency. If you have a national emergency, you have a war, during that time state will not say, no, I will not listen to you. If they say send some 10,000 troops from your police contingent, you have to send. You have to just a part of a union, that's all. Provisions of unitary states such as single citizenship, single integrated judiciary, single election commission, role of all India services personnel, etc. are found in our constitution. See, there are certain features of unitary nation which are like single citizenship, because wherever you go, if you step out of a country, you are known as an Indian, or not you are from Andhra, Telangana, Gujarat or Bengali. Understand? You are just known as an Indian. That is a single citizenship. When you say single integrated judiciary, see, for the same offence or something, I can go to High Court which is situated in Delhi, or Supreme Court is situated in Delhi, whereas for your fundamental rights, if fundamental rights are violated, you can go to Supreme Court or High Court. You have a integrated and independent judiciary. When I say independent, it is away from or independent from the legislative and executive bodies. When I say integrated, you have a three tiered body, that is at Supreme Court at higher level, High Court at state level, and subordinate at the district level also. And at the same time, certain federal features like written, rigid constitution, dual government, bicameralism, etc. are profoundly seen in our constitution. Thus, it is a quasi-federal policy like Canada. See, when I am telling quasi-federal policy, you have a dual government, means even if you take the parliament, you have a bicameralism. See, Lok Sabha represents the people, Rajya Sabha represents the states. Like that, you have a written constitution. Why this written constitution is required? If some conflict arises between the union and the state, then they will seek the help of the constitution. There are provision regarding tax bifurcation and the money related matters, interstate disputes, everything mentioned in our constitution in interstate relations. Whereas for dispute settlement, we can go to the Supreme Court for such cases. Next, now let's discuss about the parliamentary form of government. The makers of our constitution adopted the Irish precedent of an elected president instead of a hereditary monarch. See, we have taken this parliamentary form of government from the British, whereas they have the head as an hereditary. Hereditary monarch was the head of the country, but whereas this Ireland and all, they have an elected president. So we have taken or adopted the Irish precedent of having a elected president instead of a hereditary monarch. They retained all other essential features of parliamentary system, like two types of executive heads, prime minister leadership, collective responsibility, nominal position of the president, parliament's control over the union executive, etc. We have taken all these parliamentary forms of various methods in the parliamentary form of government from the British. We have adopted all these things. Like we have two executives, a nominal head and a real head. A nominal head is the president, whereas the real head is the prime minister, who is head of the council of ministers. Understand? And a parliament's control over the union executive. Executive in the sense the council of ministers, they are responsible to the parliament. They prescribe the same type of political system for the states as well. Whatever is being followed at the center, the same thing is being followed at the state level as well. Now, let's come to the seventh point, that is independent judiciary. See, we discussed legislative and executive. Let's go for the third organ of the government, that is judiciary. The Constitution of India granted independent and integrated judiciary for Indians. When I say independent judiciary, it is free from the other two organs of the body of the government. They are legislative and executive. It is completely independent. Okay, it may not be, or it is not going to depend upon them on their pays and perks, everything. Understand? Completely independent. Its affairs, functions, everything is independent. Such a kind of judiciary you have, and an integrated judiciary for Indians. In the sense, you have an integrated judiciary. It's not a union have a separate court and states have a separate court. We have a same structure with at three tier levels. You have a Supreme Court at the central level, and Supreme Court at the central level, and High Court at the state level, and the district courts or subordinate courts at the district level. Such a system is known as integrated judiciary. Hence, the Supreme Court and High Courts in India act independently without subject to the control of the executive and legislative organs. I just discussed, when I say independent, it acts completely not under the control of the executive and legislative organs. Entirely its functioning is independent. Judiciary enjoys independence in the matters of appointment of judges, their tenure, salaries, allowances, service conditions and promotions, etc. See, this is very important for to ensure its independence, because when judiciary has its own control on matters related to its affairs like appointment of judges, their salaries, it can function well. Otherwise, if it has to depend on the legislature and executive, it may has to oblige to them. So it may not deliver exact justice in such case. To ensure a good justice without anybody's whims and fancies and control, you should have a separate terms and conditions for your body. Our constitution clearly states that the executive and legislative authorities should refrain from interfering in the functioning of the judiciary. See, our constitution very clearly states that executive, that is the council of ministers or that body, and the legislature are not going to involve in the affairs of the judiciary. Absolutely. And in fact, they have to listen to them. I mean, they should be obliged to the acts or like the judgments passed by the judiciary and courts. It conferred the power of judicial review on the judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts. See, judicial review is something, if in the government we have three organs: legislative, executive and judiciary. Suppose a legislative body or the parliament has passed an act, if that is not in compliance with the provisions of the constitution, then judiciary, the Supreme Court, on its own, as a suo motu basis, on the suo motu basis, it can make that act invalid. Understand? In such a way, if an executive is implementing something, it's not going against the law of a constitution or something, or it's going against the provisions of the constitution, it may prove that act as an ultra vires. Understand? This provision is known as a judicial review. So the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court have that power. It is due to the independent position of that the Supreme Court and High Court judges will decide the propriety and constitutional validity of the acts and policies of the legislative and executive authorities in the country. See, when the legislative body is making some laws and the executive is implementing them, a judiciary should interpret them whether these all are going in a right way or according to the democratic political ideas of our country or according to the provisions of our constitution. Everything should be checked by the judiciary. That's its main power. Now let's move on to the 8th point, that is directive principles of state policy. See, directive principles of state policy means the government is supposed to deliver socio-economic or welfare measures to the public. Okay, such things are mentioned here. Our constitution hinted out certain directive principles as the of state policy in part 4 from article 36 to article 51. The makers of our constitution derived these principles from Irish constitution. See, some of the provisions have been taken from Irish constitution, in that even these directive principles of state policy is also one. They pointed out that these principles would transform India into a welfare, Gandhian and liberal oriented state. See, there are certain principles mentioned in the articles 36 to article 51 which ensures a welfare state, Gandhian state and liberal oriented, how the government or the state should behave, what it should deliver to the public. Understand? So these principles must be implemented by all the parties which hold authority without political considerations. See, when the government is implementing certain things for the welfare of the people, it should not say only certain section of, because we belong to this party, we belong to this political party or this religion, we implement only these kind of things. For the welfare or overall general welfare of the people, you have to follow certain things. You have to follow irrespective of which political party you belong. Whatever government is there in power, it has to deliver justice. Okay. These principles enable the state to provide a new social order based on economic, political and social justice. The government will deliver justice irrespective of their political party to ensure a new social order. A social order is in the sense an equitable society, a strata, there are no ups and downs. Understand? In economic, political and social areas, it has to ensure equality. Such a thing is the responsibility of the state. And these principles include certain programs like provision of employment opportunity, fair distribution of wealth and equal pay for equal work. See, in providing employment, in providing education or in some welfare programs, or in providing irrigation facilities to the agriculture, old age pension, like that, so many things in providing employment opportunities. In all these areas, government cannot show any partiality, it has to ensure equality. On the 9th point, we are going to discuss about the fundamental rights. These rights are something which are fundamental to us for every citizen. Our constitution mentioned fundamental rights on American model for the complete realization of the personality of Indian citizens. See, fundamental rights, we have taken these provisions from the Bill of Rights of America. Westerners give more priority to the individual freedom and all. They give utmost priority. They say individuals should realize their personality in the pursuit of happiness or all these things. No, just like that, we have taken these provisions from them. They are incorporated under Part 3 from Articles 12 to 35 of our Constitution. Indian citizens can utilize these rights subject to certain rational restraints. Indian citizens have these fundamental rights. We have got these fundamental rights, but that doesn't mean we can just use them like that. They have got some reasonable restrictions. When I say right to freedom of expression, for example, right to freedom of expression doesn't mean I can express whatever I have in my mind. I cannot use filthy language, abusive language on my neighbors and like that. We have got some reasonable risk. I can say, example, the government is doing something. I say this government is not doing good. It's no good. I don't want to vote this. I can say against that. That is okay. But I cannot go on to their personal things. Okay, we have got some restrictions. In that way, they have incorporated under Part 3 from Article 12 to 35 of our Constitution. Indian citizens can utilize these rights subject to certain rational restraints. So nobody, including the government, is allowed to interfere in these rights. See, every citizens have got their own rights, right from the President of India to a common man. Everybody have their rights. As a human beings and as a citizens of India, we have got these rights. These are fundamental to this land. And I cannot say whatever right I have, I can exercise. I go to some other country. No, they might be having their fundamental law of the land. According to that, they will give some rights. Like that, we have some rights which we call them fundamental rights, which are very important to each and every citizen. Even the government cannot interfere in these rights. Understand? For example, all of a sudden a policeman comes and catches you and he'll detain you. You can just go to the court. Without any reason they cannot, because your right to life is being threatened. There you can approach directly to the Supreme Court or High Court if they are interfered. Okay. The higher judicial organizations in the country help the citizens in safeguarding these rights. See, higher judicial organizations in the sense only High Court and Supreme Court. You cannot go to the district level court for the exercise of these fundamental rights. At first, there were 7 fundamental rights in the Constitution, but at present there are only 6 fundamental rights. They are right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies, which we are going to discuss at later. Now, coming to the 10th point, fundamental duties. When I say fundamental duties, when a citizens have their right, it is also the responsibility. They should also have the duty to protect certain things. Okay, it's not like if I give you, for example, a father gives 10 rupees to a child. He says, I'll give 50 rupees to you every month as a pocket money. You have a right. You can ask, if I am not giving you by 5th of that month, you can ask, this is your right to get a pocket money from your father. That is a right. Okay, but duty, what is the duty? I'm telling, whatever you are using, no, you make a note of it. That is a duty, because you don't misuse that money for some bad things. So always the rights comes with duties. Just like that, even the fundamental rights we have in the 3rd part. Here in the 4th part of the Constitution, we have fundamental duties. Our Constitution incorporated fundamental duties in Article 51A under Part 4A. At first, there were 10 fundamental duties inserted through the Constitution, 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Later, one more duty was added through the Constitution 86th Amendment Act 2002. What is that one more duty? You might be thinking, what is that? See, through this 86th Amendment Act, government or the Constitution made it compulsory for the parents or guardians to make sure that children, if they are between the age of 6 to 14, they should be given proper education. Understand? That is the 11th fundamental duty which was added to the existing list. Altogether, there are 11 fundamental duties in our Constitution. Respecting the Constitution, national flag, national anthem, safeguarding public property, etc. are some of the fundamental duties. Now let's move on to the 11th point, that is single citizenship. Our Constitution provides for single citizenship for all persons who are born in India and who reside in India for a specific period. See, Constitution has provided for a single citizenship provision, like who are by birth, if they are Indians, like if they are born in any part of India or they are born to parents who are citizens of India, they are known as a citizens of India. Okay, so they are wherever in any nook and corner of the country, wherever they are known to be Indians. So we have only single citizenship. Then you may be asking, what is dual citizenship. When I say single, there is something known as dual citizenship. Dual means I came to be known as maybe I am a citizen of India as well as citizen of Telangana. That is known as dual citizenship. But here it is a unitary feature we follow, only single citizenship. It enables the citizens to possess and enjoy identical rights and privileges. See, I can apply for any exam, government exam here, being in Madhya Pradesh, or I can go to Chhattisgarh, or I can go to Tamil Nadu. Wherever I go, and as a citizen of India, or I can contest in elections, I can appear for government exams. All this, I have identical rights throughout and privileges. Okay, privileges are nothing but special rights. Okay, privileges are nothing but special rights. Throughout the India, I have the same privileges. It also promotes unity, integrity and fraternity among the people. See, I'll tell you one example. Suppose here we all people from different states have met in Madhya Pradesh. Let's say in the center of India or from different states. I say I am from this state, I am from this state, I am from north, south, east, west, like that. But suppose we are going to the US. In America, some forum, some meeting was going on. People from different countries come together. From each country, some 5 people are representing in that forum. At that time, I am telling, there a person from Tamil Nadu, one from Gujarat, one from Himachal Pradesh, one from Madhya Pradesh, and one from Telangana are meeting. There, all of it, without any information, these 5 people from people come together as a united. They feel themselves as we are Indians. There they will not tell, I am from Chhattisgarh, I am from Madhya Pradesh. What they say, we all are Indians. They will sit together. Understand? So, single citizenship promotes this kind of unity and integrity and fraternity. Fraternity is nothing but a kind of brotherhood, a feeling of brotherhood, okay, among the people. Now, next, move on to the universal adult franchise. The makers of the Indian Constitution provided for the universal adult franchise for all citizens without any discrimination based on caste, color, creed, community, language, religion, region, sex, property, etc. See, there is lot of diversity in our country, especially compared to other, we have so many caste system which is only unique to India. No other country in the world have this caste system. And the color, okay, creed. Creed means what kind of things you think of. You have some set of beliefs and all like that. Community, language, religion, etc. And gender. Okay, irrespective of anything, everybody have this universal adult franchise, means only based on the age. Understand? When you become an adult, you are eligible to exercise your voting right. Understand? So at the beginning, adult franchise was given to all the citizens who attained the age of 21 years. So at that time they thought whoever attains the age of 21, he has attained his adulthood, now he is eligible to vote. Why they fixed 21 years means they thought our brain will get blossomed by the time we will be in a position to think what is right, what is wrong, like that. But over a period it has changed. Later, voting age was reduced to 18 years through the 61st Amendment Act in 1988. Now, anyone who has attained the age of 18, they can exercise their voting right. Now coming to the 13th point, that is bicameralism. When I say bi means two. Okay, the Constitution of India introduced bicameralism at the national level. At the national level, we have 2 houses in the Parliament. Okay, lower house and upper house. Accordingly, the Indian Parliament consists of 2 houses, namely the Rajya Sabha, which is known as upper house, and the Lok Sabha is known as the lower house. See, that doesn't mean it is, there is difference of upper and lower. This Lok Sabha represents the people, okay, while the Rajya Sabha represents the states. You have representation from all the states in the Rajya Sabha, whereas all the people represent in the Lok Sabha. This is how things work in the central level. But the same thing is imbibed in the state level, but it is left to the state whether they can go for bicameralism or unicameralism. Unicameralism in the sense they have only one house, that is only lower house. Now, coming to this third tier, or what we know as Panchayat Raj and Nagar Palika, etc. It's a 14th point. Panchayat Raj and Nagar Palika Acts. The Panchayat Raj and Nagar Palika Acts are recent features of our Constitution. The 73rd and 74th constitutional recognition to the rural and urban local governments, which came into force in the years 1993 and 1994. See, actually our Constitution provided only for a federal, say you have a union government and the state government. Only two tiers of government. But through this Panchayat Raj and Nagar Palika Acts of 1993 and 1994, we have got the local government, that is at the third level, third tier we call as. Okay. So these are operative in all over the territory of India at the third tier, because we have a center, state and districts and villages, you know. So the district level we have this local government and all. We have urban local government and rural local government in villages. Urban in the sense in cities we have that, rural in the sense in villages we have this local government. The ideas of democratic decentralization or the grassroots democracy are realized by this act. See, actually even before the independence we were having this kind of decentralization of democracy. That idea was realized through these acts, because we thought we should have a panchayat level where we have a local self-government in the local area where they themselves will take care of their developmental activities and other measures like that. So these acts provide for adequate representation for women, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and other weaker sections in the policy making bodies of the local government. See, just like we have a law making body at the center as a parliament, at state legislative assembly or council, we have this panchayats at the local level in village, and cities we have municipal corporations or Nagar Palikas. Okay, they give adequate representation to the local women, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other weaker sections. So in order to ensure that representation from all the sections, even the depressed societies will get their representation in that. They are involved in policy making bodies of the local government. For example, there is some village and we have a local self-government. They want to, some drainage system is, open drainage system is going on. Now the people need not go and inform to their MLAs or MPs to get that done. What this, every state government will give some funds to the panchayats. They can use, just like a law making body at the state level or central level, they will make a law that now we'll make this open drainage system into the underground drainage system. They'll spend that money for that, and then and there that is solved. Understand? So local people are actively involved in making those things. Now let's move on to this 15th points, very important, that is special provisions relating to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Indian constitution hinted out at certain specific directives for the development of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in India. See, before independence itself, our country has got so many castes and tribes. Tribes in the sense people generally who live in forests and hilly areas, they were known as tribes. Why they were called so? Because they have their own distinctive culture. They are generally shy to feel with the mainstream people. They are like that. So, and the castes we have, different castes we have. So the government has specified certain caste or enlisted certain caste and tribes in certain schedule in the constitution, who all are placed in that 5th and 6th schedules. They are known to be scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. It enabled the union and state governments to review the steps taken for the improvement of backward classes through setting up of independent commissions. See, by Article 338A and B, the government has set up National Commission for Scheduled Castes and National Commission for Scheduled Tribes in order to take or ensure better development for these castes and tribes. Okay, according to the provisions of the constitution, these commissions will take care. They have one chairman at the national level, and they have someone at the state level who will take care of their functions, their demands and all. And government, you have a separate ministry for that who will take care of, social empowerment ministry who will take care of these commissions. In this regard, the union government was authorized to act as a coordinator between various state governments. See, for example, if a central government enlists certain castes as scheduled caste, but that caste may be scheduled in one state, that they may not be scheduled in another state. So it is related to that particular state. So in order to coordinate between various state governments, the union government will take care, and they will authorize to act as a coordinator between various state governments. That is all about this provisions. Thank you.